Hi, Mr. Brunel here. I'm the pre-algebra teacher here at CCLS. And so a little bit about our curriculum. So our math book is called Saxon Math. Some of the students have the book available to them at the physical book. However, this is the last year. This is likely the last year that we're going to use this curriculum. And some of the books got lost over the years. So a lot of the book kit students also have options for. Well, I should say all of the students have options to use the online book, and all of them have the link for that on Google Classroom. Um, and they've all been shown how to use that. So if they're confused about something, they can come and see me about it. Otherwise, all of them have it online, and about half of them have the actual physical book as well. Um, what was I going to say here? So this might be an example of something we're learning. So let's say we're taking the surface area of a cone right here. So we have radius, height, slant height, and one thing about the way that I teach is I try to make it more standards based. So let's say that a section of our book is talking about how to find the surface area of a cone. Well, I might look at some of what the book has, but like I said, Saxon is a little bit older of a math book. So let's say that the standard that we're actually learning. So, and let me explain standards a little bit for those of you who are unfamiliar with them. So there are certain standards that they're called the Lutheran Educators Standards, and in those standards they've looked at those and determined, hey, these are the things in seventh grade and eighth grade, well, specifically for the eighth grade pre-algebra program that the students in this class would be in. These are the standards, these are the things that they need to know about math in order to move on to the next one, which would be algebra, which is usually the first year of high school, or maybe the eighth grade for those of you here at CCLS who are doing that as eighth graders. But those standards, I look at those standards and I match them up with the standardized testing that we're taking here at CCLS, the NWEA MAP tests. And I look at those and say, hey, what are the ones that we are struggling with? So, for example, this was actually one that we were struggling with, is how to find surface area of a cone, along with sphere and rectangular prism. Rectangular pyramid or square pyramid. And so we spent while the book covered a little bit of that, I took that and said, hey, I would like to cover this a little bit more because it's something that's an area of growth for us. So sometimes in the book, you'll notice that the kids have straight problems from the book. Those are usually sections that are a little bit more straightforward. And the standardized testing has shown that the kids know what they're doing on that. There might be some other ones where we really dig in a little bit more and go to the real life application things. We spend a little bit more time on those lessons. And those would be ones like this standard in particular that show that maybe we as a class need to learn a little bit more in depthly on that. So you'll kind of see a mix from those things for me. As far as homework goes as the school year goes on, and you might notice that some of the kids struggle a little bit with a little bit like that. I try not to be the teacher that says, "Hey, just follow these 18 steps and then you're going to be good and you don't have to think about it." I really like to try to incorporate critical thinking to the class as much as I can. Critical thinking, I think, is one of the things that math does best, and is one of the number one things that students can get from the math process and get from learning math and working out those problem solvings. And it seems to me that I think that a lot of America and the world is missing some of that critical thinking. We just kind of take things as they are. We try to look for what the simplest solution for something is. So I want the students to be able to critical think. So sometimes I am a little bit vague in the way I ask questions because I want students to ask questions. I want them to have ownership of it. And sure, I try to help guide them along, but I'm not going to be one of those teachers that says, hey, I'm just going to give you the answer here. Note taking is another important aspect of class. There are formulas and other things that we write down on the board pretty consistently in class. And so I very, very strongly encourage note taking, because if you're not getting something, you can always go back and look at those notes instead of just saying, oh, I wonder what I'm going to do. I'm going to just ask the teacher. Well, use your brain, critical think, look at what taking those notes looked like. And another thing is asking questions. I know I'm relatively new here at CCLS, and some of the students are new as well. And so I always encourage them to ask questions, because if you have a question, maybe I made a mistake teaching, I'm not perfect, or maybe other kids had that same question. So that's a little bit of background about how math is going to go at CCLS this year. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.